The gag order placed on Donald Trump and his lawyers by Judge Arthur Engoron in the New York fraud trial was temporarily lifted this week by the appellate court as they consider whether or not to permanently reinstate or permanently ban the gag order. But until that decision comes down, you had Judge David Freeman on the New York Appeals Court who said this gag order cannot be enforced right now. So, as it stands right now in the state of New York, Donald Trump is once again able to attack the judge and anyone in that courtroom that he so pleases. But this may not necessarily be a bad thing. Much like when Judge Chut Ken had placed the gag order on him and then it got temporarily lifted. At that moment, when it was temporarily lifted, what did Donald Trump do? Well, he immediately engaged in witness intimidation by attacking potential witnesses against him on his social media platform, Truth Social. It was at that point, after Jack Smith then had to file an emergency motion, that Chut Ken said, yeah, you know what, you're right. I've got to put the gag order back in place even while the appeal is pending. So Donald Trump's actions during that very brief time when his gag order from Chut Ken was lifted immediately went back to violating, or what would have been violations, of the gag order. And that's not going to bode well for him as the appellate court makes their decision. So we could be looking at a similar situation here with the New York fraud trial. If Donald Trump is able to behave himself, which I don't think Donald Trump is able to behave himself, and, he doesn't go out there and attack anybody in the courtroom, maybe that works well for him as the appeal continues to be considered. Or Donald Trump is going to do what all of us expect him to do, and he's going to once again launch these horrific attacks against the staffers in that courtroom, and then the appellate court is really going to have no choice at that point but to reinforce the gag order. Now, Trump had argued, of course, his lawyers had argued for him, that the gag order was a violation of the First Amendment. And in fact, the judge who issued the temporary stay on the gag order did cite First Amendment issues while lifting it. Now, that's very weird to me because, yes, obviously the First Amendment exists. However, gag orders from courts are 100% legal and do not run afoul of the United States Constitution. Because if a gag order is not in place, it could actually lead to more constitutional violations of the rights of the other people involved in a criminal trial. So judges do have that authority. That is authority that is well established, and it does not violate the Constitution. So it does kind of blow my mind a little bit that this, appeals court judge would be like, yeah, I'll do First Amendment, so let's lift it. That doesn't make any sense. But again, this could be a situation where give him enough rope and see if he hangs himself. I don't know. But I do think, given what we have seen from Donald Trump in exactly the same situation just, a month ago, he's probably going to do something pretty stupid. It could result in him getting the gag order put back on him even before the appeals court issues their final ruling. Unfortunately, this is something we're going to have to wait and see, but I think for the safety of everybody in that courtroom, the appellate court needs to understand that Donald Trump needs this gag order, or he could be putting people in danger. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel? We also encourage you to like, comment, and share, but again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.